This game I am very, very confident in. I didn't want to open up with this just because that's too much. That's too much to do because this other team is, respected nationally. South Carolina is going to go into Death Valley and kick Clemson's teeth in. I'm talking Kyle Kennard is going to wreck Cade Klubnik. I'm predicting my brain wants to tell me 7 sacks for South Carolina. I'm going to say 5. I'm going to say at least 5 sacks, and Carolina gets it done. I think South Carolina wins convincingly in Death Valley light. Noon game. We're going to come in there with some vengeance. We're ready.
I mean, I love it.
Yeah.
Okay, let me rewind. Obviously, we're biased.
Yeah.
So
biased, but also just watching their games. Clemson has played how many ranked opponents this year? 1.
Exactly. So that's
got
2.
Wrecked.
At the time. At the time, they played 2. And they're 0-2 against those 2. It's even worse.
Add it up.
If I try to look at it as unbiased as possible, Clemson might have the weakest resume of any top 25 team.
Yeah.
Like I said, they're 0-2 against the two top 25 at the time teams they've played. I don't think they've beaten a top 30-something team this year. They've handled easy competition. And so are they a good team, or are they just able to do that against weaker competition?
Right.
Unsure. But that is, I guess, something to worry about with them. Here's what's interesting to me. You mentioned Kyle Kennard and Dylan Stewart just going and just causing trouble for them. They've only played 4 teams this season with an above average pass rush. So we're talking 60th or better in the nation.
Yeah.
In those 4 games, they're 2-2. They've averaged 17 points per game, been sacked 13 times, and have been outscored by a total of 29 points. And none of those teams, none of them have as good of a front, I would say front 7, definitely defensive line as South Carolina.
No. I mean, you're hard-pressed to find that anywhere in the nation right now.
Yeah.
And Clemson's competition up to this point has been nowhere near what they're about to witness on Saturday. I'm excited about this game. I typically am a little I don't know, man. They've had our number for years.
Yeah.
We should not be this confident going in this game. But if you watch both of these teams, I'm nervous too because it's a rivalry game. And again, it's one of those times where it's kind of like Ohio State, Michigan, I would almost say, where they've had your number the last couple of years. You're kind of can we beat them? We beat them 2 years ago. We know we can do it. I think we go in there and just handle business, man. I really think top to bottom, we have the better roster, more talented roster. Cade Klubnik has not proved a thing to me at all. He had that big run against Pitt. He's not going to do that on us, man. I really don't think so. I think he's going to be back there scared. I think we're going to get after him.
Yeah. Again, I'm saying, I'm trying to look at it as objective as I can.
Yeah.
And one of the things, when Clemson's on offense, the matchup is the run game versus us, because our run defense is 25th, which is by far the weak link of our defense, which is crazy to say because
25th is horrible.
It's horrible, right? But if you break that down more, you've got Cade Klubnik and Phil Mafah. Obviously, those are the keys to it. Phil Mafah, over 1,000 rushing yards, averaging 92 yards per game. He's a good running back. They fed him a lot. They fed him a ton this year. If you look at the best 3 run defenses they played, Louisville, he had a good game against. They ran him 30 times for 171 yards. Georgia, under 60. Pitt, 17 carries for 17 yards. Again, I'm not sure how good he is or how bad the competition they were playing was.
Right.
But that could be a key to success for them if they're able to get a good running game going. I'm not super confident if I were a Clemson fan or bet on Clemson in this, but that's one way. Cade Klubnik on the ground. Jalen Milroe, Marcel Reed, Diego Pavia. All of them, Jalen Milroe was at 36 rushing yards. Marcel Reed was at 46. Diego Pavia, 65. All of them, I think, are better carrying the ball than Cade Klubnik. And they all had decent running games, but none of them had crazy ones that just demolished the team.
Right.
Flip side of thing, South Carolina on offense, Clemson on defense. South Carolina's been improving so much on offense as the season progressed. I think LaNorris Sellers is putting way more touch on his passes. He's making better reads. Obviously, he's so elusive in the pocket. I think if they can stretch the field with a couple big plays, which Nick Harbor's been, I don't know if I'd say breaking out as a receiver, but he's been looking really good lately.
You can tell he's developing.
Developing's the word. He's developing as a receiver. So if you're stretching the field with him, then you've got Rocket Sanders, LaNorris Sellers running the ball. It just doesn't feel like a good matchup for Clemson.
No.
And so if I look at it, all the matchups feel better. They haven't played anyone. South Carolina feels like the good pick in this game. And then the last thing I'd say is like the turnover battle. Obviously, that matters in every single game you play. Like, who's going to get more turnovers? Both defense, I would say, have stepped up in key moments and gotten turnovers. So there's not an edge either way. South Carolina at times has been turnover prone on offense, but they've been cleaning that up a little bit.
The key to the game is LaNorris holding on to that ball, man.
Yeah.
That's the key to the game for me.
It makes me nervous because it's a rivalry game, like we said. But yeah, South Carolina.
Yep. Think so, which is huge, man. I mean, this is basically not a play-in game for the playoff, but like the team that wins this is going to be right on the edge, right on the bubble. It needs
to be a convincing win for South Carolina to be able to put us at probably 11 is what the number is going to be to get in.
Agreed. We need it. I think we get it. Again, just the matchups like us in that.